all hear me okay? My name is Elaine Wright. I'm Vice President of Worcester High Savings Bank and the Business Banking Department. Worcester is very pleased to be hosting this particular session with Dr. Perschel. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Worcester and who we are. We are a bank that's about 140 years old. Actually, I'm older than 140, but don't look like our mission at Worcester has really remained very constant over the years, and our mission is really to support local neighborhoods and provide personal one-on-one financial solutions and exceptional service through every stage of our customers' lives, both business and personal customers. We respect our customers. We provide old-fashioned service in the way that we would want to be treated and the way we treat our customers. We offer the community the latest customized financial products and services to serve any personal or business need, no matter how simple or sophisticated. And our customers feel confident knowing that their money is fully secured. At Worcester, I know many of you may know what FDIC insurance is. Well, at Worcester, our customers are covered by both FDIC insurance and DIF, which is the Deposit Insurance Fund. So 100% covered by insurance. There are a lot of banks in the area that have been merged with out-of-state mega banks, but Worcester has remained very dedicated to personal face-to-face service at every one of our 7 branch locations. And our branch locations are throughout the Worcester area. We're the best of both worlds, actually. We're caring and friendly, with old school service, we provide cutting-edge solutions, delivery systems, all from local professionals who live and work in Worcester. We truly care about the satisfaction of our customers. Beyond providing our customers with quality financial products and services, Worcester has become a vital partner in the community, as you can see here today, we support several programs and initiatives to help improve the quality of life for people who work and live in our communities. In 1995, Worcester developed the Worcester Foundation, which is a nonprofit fund to serve worthwhile community-related causes. Since the foundation's inception, Worcester has distributed over $1 million in charitable contributions to nonprofit organizations. We also participate in the Massachusetts Savings Makes Sense program, an educational program designed to teach the principles of banking in the course. For more than 140 years, as I said before, Worcester has been a model of success. And our motto right now, we just changed our logo and came up with some new products back in the fall. And we have a new campaign called Why Not? So my comment to you is, why not bank with Worcester? So we want to thank you this morning for being here. And again, as I said, Worcester has sponsored the Women's Worcester Conference for the last 5 years. We're very pleased to have done that and be very active community. And this morning, your session this morning is entitled How to Overcome the Chief Doubting Officer and Build Confidence. Do you have a Chief Doubting Officer or your internal board of advisors? Does she rent space inside your head? Is she standing between you and self-confidence? A lot about self-confidence this morning. Does she stop you from speaking up, being heard, taking a risk, or even enhancing your career? This morning, our speaker is Dr. Perschel, who is co-founder and vice president of mentoring and sponsorships at 3+ International. During her 20 years as a leadership and organization psychologist, Dr. Perschel has earned the highest levels of respect from a long list of leaders who have achieved greater success and increased fulfillment with her guidance. Leaders who work with Anne see different perspectives on root causes of complex and seemingly intricate business and organizational problems. They develop solutions in collaboration with key stakeholders who hold themselves and their teams accountable for implementing actions that achieve results. Throughout the process, Anne teaches principles of effective change leadership so clients continue to succeed long after their work with her ends. Anne coaches senior managers to lead and communicate an inspired vision. She helps them gain insight and be ever more aware of what drives self and others and what holds them back and how to overcome these obstacles. According to one executive, Anne is uniquely qualified to coach the whole person. She helps leaders expand their skills and perhaps even more importantly to resolve long-standing, deeper issues that present the greatest challenges for executives. and served as a senior manager in leadership and organization development at 2 Fortune 100 high-tech companies, and her role as culture change and diversity consultant and helps organizations move the dial on gender balance goals and realize the benefits of more women in leadership. Yay. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ann Perschel.
I am going to breathe you in. Rarely do I get to be in a room full of women. I grew up in high tech, so my network is typically engineers, and they are typically men. And for that very reason, I started a company with a business partner in Europe to help advance women. So I actually have 2 companies, Tame Consulting, which you just heard about, and 3+ International, which is in the business of helping women advance their careers and helping companies who get it, that women will make an important difference. We help them remove the barriers in place that prevent women or make it very difficult for women to get to leadership roles and then to contribute to their maximum once they get there. So this is a rarity for me. Thank you for being here. And I also want to let you know that I am finally standing in the room with all the faces that have been in my head for over 4 weeks. So I've been talking to you, I've been preparing for you, I've been rehearsing with you. I'm really glad we finally showed up. So with that, I'm going to, first of all, the stars have really lined up around this self-confidence thing today. When I was selected to present this workshop, Claire Shipman had not been noted as the keynote speaker. Claire Shipman had an article that was the cover story of The Atlantic magazine, formerly The Atlantic Monthly, April 2014, called The Confidence Gap. And I went, oh my God. And then weeks later, I found out she was doing a keynote here. So everything has lined up for us to be here today. The bad news for you in choosing this workshop is that I am not going to stand here and talk to you for an hour. You are going to have opportunities to work. Self-confidence is a muscle. And like every other muscle in our body, the more we use it, the stronger it gets. Part of our problem as women is we are waiting for the muscle to be strong before we do the things that we need to feel confident to do. It doesn't work that way. You have to take the risk. So with that, you have to take the risk first. With that, I'm going to ask you to do something right away. In your folders is an index card. I'm asking you to fill out your name. It's up there. I don't need to repeat that. The line that says what people come to you for, each one of us, whether it's at work or in our personal lives, people come to us for something. It might be recipes. It might be a shoulder to cry on. It may be a cup of tea. It may be get out there and try again after you've dusted yourself off. People come to me for a different perspective. I will typically have a fresh perspective. So fill out this card. And the last question is, how confident would you feel right now standing up and announcing to this group what's on your card? Okay? 0 is you have absolutely no confidence in doing that. And 4 is no problem. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to fill those out. And then you're going to pass them to the ends of your row, and each row is going to pass them up. And I may call on you. So if you don't want me to call on you, don't pass your card out. But you won't qualify for a prize. Okay? Well, that's the way it goes. That musical accompaniment was planned. So as you're doing that, because we have a lot of work to do together today, I'm going to keep talking. Until you showed up, this workshop was in my head. It was an imaginary thing. It is no longer my workshop, it is our workshop. And so what happens from here on in will be somewhat of a surprise to me, and it will be what we do together. So in order to make that happen, the remote. I can stand here and do it. In order to make that happen, first I'm going to review a very, you like that, I love that picture. I only do the agenda so I can use the picture. We're going to have a very, oh, you just went, so can you go forward? No. Forward, but we can only go backwards today. I'm going to go forward. So our very brief agenda looks like this. We're going to set some norms and ground rules so that we can get the most out of this session today. I'm going to frame up the problem for women in self-confidence. You're going to hear several iterations of that today. It is a gender-based lens, for the most part, that I will take. You're going to get a chance to take a quick assessment. It is not the same as Claire's assessment, so please go online and take the one that you heard about this morning. You're going to meet the chiefs. We talked about a chief doubting officer. There's a couple of other chiefs that hang around in our heads. So we're going to meet them. Some of them are actually very helpful. They just have been in hiding for a while. What I'm going to share with you today are new perspectives. All the perspectives won't be new to every one of you, but I hope some of you will take away at least one or two new perspectives. And with each perspective, I'm going to share a tip. So something you can apply today, tomorrow, to build your self-confidence. And I've already shared one. It's a muscle. Use it to build it. And there will be prizes. And you will have homework. And it will be self-assigned. So you will make commitments here today. And there will be accountability after the fact. I can hardly wait to tell you about that. All right. Here are your workshop norms. We are all on a journey. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. I feel like a kindergarten teacher. But there are going to be times in this room when you're going to be talking in pairs. Be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. We're experimenting here today. We're practicing, except for me. I don't give myself a break, do I? Okay, listen actively when you're listening to each other. Participate, engage, comment, ask questions. It is our workshop. Maintain confidentiality. If somebody shares something with you, what gets stated in Worcester stays in Worcester. Thank you. The correction, what gets shared within these four walls stays within these four walls. It cannot leave for the greater Worcester community. Thank you, Tamara. Would you like to stand up here with me? Because I like company.
No, I was just putting it out there.
Okay. Be non-judgmental. We're on a journey. Do at least one thing today in here, maybe out there, but I prefer it to be in here so you can qualify for a prize, that takes you outside your comfort zone, because that's where we are not confident, outside our comfort zone. And expect to leave here with that homework and expect to be held accountable for completing your assignment. Okay, what are your takeaways? I hope that you leave here today with two newish perspectives. Maybe all the perspectives I will share will be old to you, but I want to bring them up to the surface, hopefully in a different way. And you will leave with at least two tips. I will share more than two tips, but some of them may be old hat for you. So I hope you leave with four things. Two perspectives, two tips. Whoops, one more, yes. And you're going to get reacquainted with your confidence, because we're going to talk about a time when the question about confidence wasn't even present in any of our minds. And now with that, and this is an opportunity for those of you, and I'm going to ask for a show of hands. people in this room, if I said, come on up to the front of the room, and we're going to play a game of Jeopardy, how many people would feel their confidence on that 0 to 4 scale would be at about a 2? Great. This is your opportunity to exercise. No, I'm not going to force you. Just think about it. It's a muscle, all right? There is no risk here. Your career advancement doesn't rest on this, all right? There are no Emmys for your performance. You are among people who are on the journey. So I invite the 2s. Any 1s? Anybody feel like a 1 coming up here playing Jeopardy? Oh, see the 1s, their hands go up like this. Or 0s. 0s, oh, and those 0s, good for you. 0s, 1s, and 2s, this is your opportunity. You may have to fight each other off. I only need 3 people, okay? Now, the other person who gets a chance to work that muscle is somebody who's actually a pretty good singer, but has always been shy about singing in public. Joanne, is that you?
Oh, I'm not a good singer.
Oh, you're a terrible singer. That's even better. So, if you know the tune to Jeopardy, sing it. Do 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 do. All right. Now who's going to stand up here and do it alone? Go ahead. You got company. Okay. What would you say your confidence level was 2 minutes ago that you would do that? 0 to 4.
2.
Okay. On your index card that you're going to pass up, put an asterisk because you qualify for prize. There was a muscle working there. Okay. Did you faint?
No.
Good. How you doing?
Okay. I wasn't really sure of the tune, but everybody helped us.
Okay, so I need 3 Jeopardy players. The 0, 1s, and 2s. Here's your chance. I got prizes. Tamara's leaning forward. All right, we have 1.
She's great.
Come on, come on up. Come on up. Oh, you're getting up here. You're getting up here. Okay, first 3. You know each other? Okay. So you know how Jeopardy goes. I'm going to show the answer, and you have to ask the question. So the title is a bit of a giveaway. This is Confidence and Gender Jeopardy. So, that's the name of the category. Here's what I want you to do. If you think you know the answer, when you have the answer, you're going to do what Molly was saying little girls do. You're going to go, and the first person that I notice that does that is, oh, I'm so, excuse me. I forgot to tell you one thing about the norms. One of them was, well, we're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh. Life is too short not to laugh. Okay. So, are you ready? Let's practice the squeal. Perfect. Okay, you ready? Here we go. 20 to 30%. Squealing.
Women who... It is a question.
Sorry. 20 to 30%.
What is the percentage of men who have confidence?
Okay, we have one more. Tamara, you're on. You're on.
It has to do with gender?
Gender and confidence.
Gender and or gender or?
And confidence. And.
What did you say?
Oh, that's what women have.
Oh.
Wait a minute, what did you say?
They consider themselves confident.
No. Okay.
20 to 30% of women don't have enough confidence to come up and do the Jeopardy.
Well, I like it. It was creative. What you're...
I am that.
Thank you, ladies. Anybody want to...
We're on.
Go.
The percentage of women on boards.
You know what? It may be, but this is about confidence. So let me tell you the answer. The gap, the confidence gap between adult men and adult women is 20 to 30 percentage points. Men will typically self-rate as 20 to 30% more confident than women do. Okay, you were right. Okay. I misunderstood your answer. Okay, we have one more question. Through grade 5. Go ahead.
Girls are more confident than males.
You're really close.
They're the same.
Yeah.
And can I get a buzz on that one?
Okay, you qualify for prizes. Put an asterisk next to your index, next on your index card. Okay.
We're being dismissed.
Well, I don't want to say it that way. So, you've got the stats. We're going to talk more about this. You're going to hear about this from Claire. Claire's numbers may be a little bit different. I think she goes with the 30% number. I've been hanging out in this field for about 15 years. I go with 20 to 30%. Okay? And we're going to talk more about what happens up until 5th grade and then after 5th grade. It's not a pretty picture. So anyhow, thank you to my Jeopardy volunteers. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to frame up the problem for you. And I'm going to start with some research that a colleague and I did over the course of 2011 and 2012. And the research report is actually called Women and the Paradox of Power. We did not set out to do research on women and self-confidence. That emerged. So I'm not going to tell you what the research is about because we don't have that much time. But the report is on my website. It's on Germain Consulting website if you want the report. It's a fun report. It's not a heavy academic report. That means it has pictures in it. And but we did ask. So we had over 300 women, director level and above, in large corporate America. And we had them from multiple corporations. A lot of the women, a significant number were from the cable and communications industry, but over 300 women, director level and above, some definitely on the C-suite. And in the course of our research, we asked a two-part question. What are the major obstacles to your career success? And the two parts were the obstacles that are out there. They may be in the company, the policies, the general culture, but they're out there. What are the major obstacles? The second half of that question was, what are the major internal obstacles to your career success? And it's that question that I'm going to talk more about. We did not give them choice answers. So this was not a multiple choice. This was spontaneously answered the question on a written survey and in interviews. The number one top answer to what is the biggest internal obstacle to your success was self-confidence. If I had more self-confidence, the chance of my achieving my career goals and being successful, however I define that, would be greater. And that was, one of the first times I really heard that data in such a significant way. And it didn't come out as number one by a small margin. It was a major obstacle in this research. And these are senior women. Okay, these are, they're not at the bottom of the rung. They've got achievements as long as my arm and maybe down the other arm as well. Okay? I talk to women at the C-suite, and they are still dealing with this. I talk to women on boards of international companies, and when they walk in the room, for the board meetings, they wonder what they're doing there. It's amazing. You're not alone. So, This became the poster child. And I'll tell you the quote that the woman, she didn't give us this picture, I found this picture. So the poster child quote from one of our participants was, "What I need in order to achieve my career goals and to be successful is a constant drip feed of self-confidence." It was a really powerful statement. And it said a lot of things to me. It said she was locating confidence as being out there and something she could get from out there in here. And so I've been thinking a lot about this, and we're going to do an exercise today that allows you to locate your confidence and literally infuse it, but from yourself. Because we've all been confident. I'm confident. I know each one of you has been confident at least once in your life, maybe twice. Okay, so in your file, in those folders you got, there is a self-confidence assessment. 5 minutes. If it's taking you more than 5 minutes, you're deliberating over the answers too long. Just put down your answer and move on to the next question. And we're going to use these. Yes, it's a two-sided sheet. Thank you. And if you don't have a pen, there are pens at the back of the room. For those of you who are standing, there's one seat, 2 seats up here, if you prefer to sit. And I have no problem you take somebody else taking that chair with a red jacket on it and just put it into the aisle.
I sent the facility as a jacket and to bring more chairs.
Oh, thank you. Twitterati in here, raise your hands. My handle on Twitter is @BizShrink, and it's B-I-Z shrink. Okay. We got another 2 minutes to finish up. I mean, they're yours. You don't finish it, you don't finish it here. But. Did I miss another thing? It would be a start.
It's going to be that longer.
Okay, I'm gonna get started. If you haven't finished it yet, keep going. I hear that we're all multitaskers these days, so I told you that we were gonna meet the chiefs. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. We're going to meet the chiefs. So the title of this workshop is Taming Your Chief Doubting Officer. There are some other chiefs that we're going to spend some time with today. Some people, in addition to or instead of having somebody who is constantly doubting what she can do, some people have an inner critic who's constantly criticizing her after the fact, this sort of relentless, you should have, you didn't, you could have, you made a mistake, or sometimes they show up before. You'll do this, you'll fall flat. Oh, by the way, I fell today. Do not adhere. But what's the worst thing that can happen when you do a presentation? You can fall. I fell out there. I lived. Okay, so we're going to use an applause meter for this next exercise. So I'm going to ask you to stand up and applaud when I give the answer that fits best for you. Okay, those are your big girl shoes. Right? So here's the question, and then I'm going to give you the rating scale. The question is, how confident do you feel right now that you could get up from where you're sitting and walk to the front of the room and get back again? Pretty simple. Oh wait, I haven't given you the rating scale yet. That's really confident. Okay. So how many of you are a 0 on that scale? No confidence at all. Dead silence. How many of you are a 1? 2. Okay. Thank you, Maria. That was really brave of you. 3. Okay. And how many 4s? Thank you. Thank you. The 4s are ruling today. So most of you feel anywhere from most of you feel a 4. We've got some 3s and some 2s. That's pretty good levels of self-confidence. If you were a man, you'd be 10s. The 5 would be a 10. Okay, but this was not always the case. All right? And this is where I want you to meet. You're about to meet your chief, your CCC, I call her, Chief of Courage and Confidence. So I'm going to bring you back to, how old were we when we learned to walk? About a year and a half? Okay. Year. Oh, well, tomorrow. Okay. Little late. Okay. So 10 months old, you've been face planted on the ground your whole life, right? And then one day you get up and you might hold on to something a little bit, and then you do this amazing thing. You balance on these really chubby legs, and see how they go out? They don't know what on earth they're doing. And then after you do that, you pick one leg up, and you balance on the other leg, and you put this one down, and then you repeat it. You might fall, and you get back up again. And it's just, and everybody around you is applauding. They think you're just totally wonderful. So this was at a time in our lives when there was no question about confidence or lack thereof. Developmentally, as children, we do what the brain and the muscles and the whole system are ready to do, simply because we're ready. And we don't have language, so we can't possibly be asking ourselves if we are confident. So this is a time in our lives when we have the courage and confidence to try. Nobody runs a marathon the first day they walk. Confidence is about trying. It is not about doing it perfectly. And this is one of the problems we have as women. We have this perfection thing going on. And we're not going to try until we can be perfect. But guess what? You have to try in order to perfect. So this is the muscle thing. You got to work the confidence muscle and try the thing before you can get really good at it. And after, and probably an average of 35 years, you're all really confident that you could walk up to the front of the room. That's because you worked those muscles a lot.
Can I make a comment?
Yes. No, please.
It's just fascinating hearing what you're saying because I've noticed that, and this is the fact, that women have to do a job before they get the title, and men get the title in order to do the job.
Yes.
So I wonder if it's kind of self-propagating.
Well, this goes to that 30% gap. Men will throw their hat in the ring when they feel they have 60% of the competencies. How many of you would go for a promotion feeling that you could do 60% of the job? Please raise your hand. Good. Good. Okay? So that's part of the problem. They don't wait to feel 80% confident and to have 80% of the competencies. We do. Now, I don't think women should give up that overconfident piece, because quite frankly, I think many men are undercompetent in the job. Excuse me, but the financial debacle of 2008, I think you were a little overconfident, guys. And had there been some Lehman Sisters hanging around, the sign would still be up. Because we wouldn't take those kinds of risks. So don't give up on the competence, but boost the confidence. And jump before you think you're ready, because you're ready before you think you are. Walking. All right? Thank you. Great question. So, with that, the tip is, ask not, John Kennedy here, couldn't help myself. Ask not, do I have the confidence to succeed? The question of confidence is whether you have the confidence to try. All right? Do you have the confidence to try? And there's a second half of this tip. Choose a low-risk situation. If you don't want to go for the promotion because it involves public speaking, join Toastmasters. Do it outside of work. Tell you a quick story about a sales client of mine. She was a sales manager by the time I was working with her, but she still is an engineer. Okay? And she didn't go into engineering because she was an outgoing extrovert who loved to talk to people. She was very shy, very reserved, and very uncomfortable talking to people she didn't know. Why on earth she raised her hand for a sales job? Oh, I do know. Sales is an incredible career for women. Talk about work-life flexibility. You're typically in your car, and you don't have to show up in an office. You can go to school in the middle of the day, do something with the kids, get in your car, and go to another meeting. And you're measured by the numbers, not by the hours you put in behind the desk. Great job for women. So she went into sales because of the flexibility, and here she doesn't want to talk to strangers, honey. Good luck. Here's what she did. It was brilliant. She took a part-time job for a short while as a bartender. Low risk, have to talk to people, they order the drink, you sell the drink. All right? So that, you create experiments in low risk situations, you boost your confidence, and then you become a successful sales manager. All right? So that's the second half of that tip that isn't up there. So, how does she show up? We talked about walking. This is one image of a chief doubting officer. I do a lot of online workshops in the virtual world, and as part of those workshops, I have people send me in their pictures of who they imagine their chief doubting officer to look like. I don't have time to share them, but imagine this one, it's one of my favorites. Fire-breathing dragon. And then there was the woman who chose Sheryl Sandberg. Because she said, she makes me feel so inadequate. All right, so when does she show up and why is she here? This is going to get a little tricky. I'm going to talk for a few minutes. So everybody is just telling us how wonderful we are because we took 2 steps. We're 10 months old. The world is so proud of us. And then, a few years go by and we're not toddlers anymore. We're not doing this remarkable thing called walking. And we get into kindergarten. This is a true story about one of my grandkids. And people start to criticize us. And they don't really mean to be criticized. criticizing us, but in kindergarten, you gotta line up, you gotta do things right, and you get told, you get in line, right? So what starts to happen is, death by 1,000 paper cuts. So we get criticized, we feel embarrassed, we feel, oh my God, I did something wrong. So this is my client who, I meet with her in adult life, right? She cannot speak up at meetings. You don't get very far on the career ladder if you can't tell people what your ideas are. And what she tells me is that she's an only child, and in kindergarten, first week of kindergarten, the assignment is to form the letters of the alphabet. And she starts to help the student next to her, the girl next to her, who was having a really hard time. She'd never formed them. My client knew how to write the letters of the alphabet. Of course, she was an only child. So she's helping the girl next to her. And the next thing she knows, the tall teacher is standing behind her with arms crossed in front of the whole class and says, "Don't help her again." And then you think you're doing something really good, right? And so you go from, okay, wonderful, and being so helpful to, what are the feelings that you imagine go along with feeling like you're being helpful and then being told, don't do that again? What are the feelings that come up? Shock, shame, embarrassment, doubt. I just thought I was doing something right, and I found out I was doing something wrong. So what is the lesson my client learns from this? Never speak up again. She wasn't speaking, she actually was speaking to the girl next to her. Don't call attention to yourself. Thankfully, she didn't take the lesson, don't help people. So that stayed with her. And that happens to most of us. We have some set of experiences, or sometimes a major experience, where we do something, we think we're doing something right or good or well, and we get embarrassed or shamed or humiliated in some way, and we start to feel bad inside. She shows up, but here's an interesting thing about her role. Her role is actually to protect us. And that's why I hope this is a different perspective, because a lot of people just want her to shut up and go away. And they get like nasty with her, like, get out of my head. You're not renting room inside my head anymore. They don't go away so easily because they're here for a purpose. So I'm going to tell you sort of a metaphor for what happens. This is the brave one. This is the one who walked. This is the one who had courage. This is the one who had the confidence to do the things she was ready to do. And when she starts to get those paper cuts of shame and humiliation and embarrassment, the doubting officer says to her, "Dearie, I am going to protect you. I am going to make sure that you don't get yourself into those situations anymore where you feel shamed and embarrassed and humiliated. So come with me, we're going to hide you away. And we're going to bring out some guards, and they are going to protect you and make sure you don't come out from it." And one of those guards is the chief doubting officer. It's that voice in your head that prevents you from doing things that might cause you shame or embarrassment or humiliation. So instead of telling them to shut up and go away, here's what I do with my clients. We have a conference. We literally visualize a meeting. And in the meeting is the client, myself, live as we are today, the chief doubting officer, however my client envisions that person, and the brave one. And we thank the chief doubting officer for keeping the brave one safe all these many years, because she's done a really good job. She's been protected in the castle. And then we tell her, I'm ready now to come out. And for my success, for my joy, for my development, it's really important that I come out. So we'd like you to go into retirement. She gets to retire. Aruba, wherever it is. And we literally watch her walk out of the room. And, if any of you want to go through this, you can follow up with me. You can do it with a friend. be warned that there might be some feelings when you watch that chief doubting officer walk out of the room. She's been hanging around a really long time. And sometimes she wants to know, how are you going to ensure me that you're going to be okay if I'm not with you? So you have this conversation with her, and then you put her into retirement. Okay, so that's one tip you can apply after today. It's not the only one. But for now, we are going to meet another. We are actually going to meet, and you're going to be doing an exercise in pairs. We are going to meet another one of the officers. So we've got the chief doubting officer, the chief inner critic. Some of you may have one or both. We've got the chief of courage and confidence, and we've got a CEO who decides who's going into the room that day. Are you going in? The CEO says, today when you go and you speak to these 80 women, I don't want your chief doubting officer in the meeting with you. Okay, so please take just the chief of courage and confidence and let her be in that room with you. All right? And so the CEO, and we have a CEO. They boss us around all the time. They're the ones who make our to-do list. All right? So the one we're going to spend a little time getting familiar with today is your chief of courage and confidence. Okay? And here's the exercise that I'm asking you to do. We've all got a story, hopefully a more recent one, where we did something that took courage and confidence to do. All right, so I want you to locate your story, and in pairs, you're each going to take 5 minutes at most. And this is where your active listening comes in. You are going to describe what you did, when you did it, kind of what the circumstances were. You don't have to answer all those questions. I'm really looking for the context of the story. And what you're going to locate are, what were your physical sensations at the time? Because courage has a body sensation that goes along with it. It may have multiple body sensations. What were your emotions and what were your thoughts before, during, and after? Okay, so that's how you're going to meet your chief of courage and confidence. You're going to identify one area in your professional life where you need to increase your confidence. Speaking up at meetings, asking your boss for a promotion, throwing your hat in the ring for that really challenging project. I don't care what it is, it doesn't matter. This is about building the muscle to try. So identify one thing you need to do in order to boost your confidence at work, in order to succeed. You can choose the thing you put on that self-confidence assessment. And here's where your commitment comes in. To your partner, you are going to commit to taking one action to boost that muscle on that thing that you need to be more confident about. I don't care how small it is. I don't care if you sneeze at the next meeting, just so that you can hear yourself. All right? And you are going to schedule an accountability plan. So if I'm talking to Sheila, and I say I'm going to sneeze at the next meeting, I'm going to say, Sheila, and that next meeting is next week, so I'm talking to you on Monday of the following week to let you know what I did and how it went, how the sneeze went. Okay? Do you have the assignment? Any questions about it? You're going to have to exchange some contact information via emails or phone numbers. I'm also asking you to network a little bit because women don't network enough, and that's a whole other workshop. Okay? So have at it. And could you, as you're doing that, pass your index cards to the end of the row. If you don't want me to call on you to come up here, don't pass your index card forward. You've got 10 minutes.